Welcome, my friends, to an exclusive preview of Metal Eden. This is an upcoming adrenaline rush sci-fi FPS, and the wonderful team over at PlayOn have kindly granted me access to the free demo, which is out right now, so that I can give you a rundown of the gameplay mechanics and help you get to grips with the high-action thrill ride that is Metal Eden. So make sure you go and check out the demo once you finish watching this video, which you can access right now using the link down below. So without further ado, let's jump straight into a few of the mechanics that make this a unique standout in the action FPS genre. The first thing I want to show off is core ripping. This is a core gameplay mechanic, excuse the pun, and as long as it's not on cooldown, you can use this ability to literally rip the core out of an enemy. Pretty much every enemy has a core. Once you have this core in your hand, you can do one of two things with it. You can throw it at a group of enemies to cause a big AoE explosion, or you can crush and absorb this core, dramatically powering your next melee attack. I'll talk about melee attacks later on in the video. And please note, these probably won't be the only two things you can do with cores. This is literally just talking about the first two missions of the game. There is a huge skill tree to upgrade as well, and you can enhance many of your abilities and unlock new ones as well. So there are probably many more unknown uses for cores as well. But core ripping is a very key mechanic, and as I say, you can use it both for a ranged AoE or to really superpower your next melee attack, and you will instantly kill the enemy that you rip the core out of as well, which is a great added bonus. Before I move on and talk about the next feature that Metal Eden has to offer, I also wanted to tell you about a challenge that the developers are currently running for the next week alongside the demo, which could see you win a portion of a $1,000 prize pool. This is a speedrun challenge. All you need to do is live stream your run and submit it to the official challenge leaderboard on speedrun.com, and if you are one of the top 3 fastest people to complete the demo, you could receive a portion of the prize pool. You also have access to a shop in this game. The pig shop will allow you to upgrade all of your weapons as long as you have met certain requirements, such as killing X amount of enemies with said weapon. And then you will need enough dust to be able to upgrade your weapon. And talking of dust, this game really does reward exploring off the beaten track, as there are secrets and hidden loot and ammo refills and armor refills and lots of dust all over the place, and you do need to go and explore high and low, and you are given many parkour options and many traversal options with which to do so, which I will talk about in just a second. Another thing about the shop is certain guns will have 2 different upgrade routes, similar to the 2 different mods that you would have to choose in Doom Eternal, and you do need to pick which of the 2 best suits your playstyle, allowing for a lot of versatility and variety in your builds. Next up, I did just mention about parkour. There is an absolute ton of parkour options in this game. You can jump, you can double jump, and then you can use your jetpack as long as you don't run out of fuel. You can dash both on the ground and mid-air. You can wall run. You can swing along these zip lines that will take you hundreds or thousands of meters. You can even jump between them during difficult platforming sections. You can jump between different wall running sections as well, replenishing your fuel whilst you are on a wall, allowing you to then use your jetpack to jump to the next one. And all of these parkour traversal, and there is grappling hooks as well, and all of these traversal options can be used in combat too. Arenas are very fun, with lots of different platforms, lots of different running walls, lots of different grapple points. So just like in Doom Eternal, you will be flying nimbly around the arena. It's a very fast-paced game, as I said at the start of the video, very adrenaline rush. Every fight is a real thrill ride when you are playing Metal Eden. If you aren't a hardcore FPS fan and you're worried it might be a bit too intense for you, luckily for you, there is also resupplies. These are very generous, and if you want to take your time, it can really help in between fights. So most arenas will contain, for example, an ammo resupply, a health resupply. One of them will recharge your ability to rip cores. Sometimes they will give you armor back and other things as well. And rather than these being one-use pickups, they actually go on a cooldown, and you can use them again later on. So if you do find after a fight that you are low on health and low on armor, you can just sit there and wait for these pickups to recharge, and then you can grab them again before you then move on to the next area. Now, I'm not sure if this is an absolute guarantee for every single pickup, and I don't know if this feature is disabled on the higher difficulty settings, and we'll talk about difficulty settings later, but at least on normal, and for the first few missions that I have played in the demo, this is how it works, which makes it very beginner friendly if you are worried that this game might be a little bit too intense for you. It does feel like it really has been tailored for gamers of all skill levels and abilities. But for those of you who are a bit more hardcore and who do want to run on the higher difficulty settings, the next section about hot swapping is for you. This is very, very fun. So if you don't know what hot swapping is, which I didn't because I'm not a real hardcore FPS gamer, I usually tend to keep my hardcore gaming for RTS and Souls-likes, but I got into hot swapping because it looked really good fun. Sometimes you'll see really pro Doom players switching between guns lightning fast, and the reason they do this primarily is to skip reload periods. So as you can see here, if I shoot with my kinetic weapon, I have to wait for it to cool down. If I use my shotgun, I have to wait for the pump before I can shoot again. However, if you hot swap, it looks a little something like this. It will allow you to use your weapons 10 times faster, dealing devastating amounts of damage, and you will see elements of hot swapping throughout the video. I'm not a pro, so I'm not particularly good at it yet, but it's incredibly fun to do, and it makes you feel insanely badass, and I'm sure on the hardest difficulty setting, it's probably quite required. Next up, I wanted to give you an example of one of the many skills you'll unlock throughout the game. This one is slow-mo. I've only unlocked the base level of it so far, so it doesn't last very long, but I can use it quite frequently. So as you'll see, it uses my fuel up and will literally slow down time in enemies around me. When my fuel runs out, time goes back to normal, but it recharges pretty quick. So this is yet another mechanic to remember to use in combat. If I'm using slow-mo pretty frequently, fights that would quickly become overwhelming are suddenly a lot more manageable. And utilizing all of these different upgrades that you unlock as you progress throughout the game are going to be absolutely key, especially for newer players who aren't yet quite as savvy with games like this. But it's fantastic that this game offers so much variety and so many different tools to help you overcome these challenges, because it really does mean it should appeal to everyone who just wants to have a bloody good time in a really cool universe. Overcharge is another really sick mechanic that you get a glimpse of near the end of the demo. Once you finish charging the energy of whatever the hell it is I'm doing here, you then get access to an overcharge, and this will make you deal ridiculous amounts of damage, automatically replenish your health, and never run out of ammo, meaning I can two-shot these absolute badass enemies that usually take many bullets and punches to go down. It's not clear if there will be other ways to charge your overcharge, and if this is something that you will gain access to naturally throughout your skill tree, or if this is reserved for special situations like this. But if we are seeing this many different mechanics and this much variety in simply the opening tutorial mission for the game, I have very high hopes for the amount of variety of tools and gameplay elements that we will see as we continue progressing through this incredibly fun game. Next up, I've spoken about meleeing a few times throughout this video. Meleeing is very important. Firstly, using your normal punches, you will stun enemies briefly when you punch them, and whilst they are stunned, they will take more damage from your bullets as well. Now, when I say stunned, we're not talking like they are physically unable to attack. They will still be able to fight back, but they will be under the effects of your melee, and they will be taking increased damage from you. And when I say increased damage, enemies with shields and armor especially, this is absolutely crucial. Your bullets will go from dealing 1 damage to dealing 50. Meleeing really is that powerful. And then, if you rip out an enemy's core and crush that core to absorb the energy, your next melee hit is super powered and will instantly strip the armor from most enemies and will pretty much one-shot anything else. Very, very powerful when dealing with tougher enemies, and incredibly satisfying to use as well. Another thing I should say about meleeing, similar to Doom, the lower health you are when you melee kill enemies, they can drop health for you. And again, I'm sure there's going to be other skills and abilities we unlock throughout the game that will give you other ways to restore your health and armor to keep you going for longer in tougher fights. Next up, there is also a ton of ways to upgrade in this game. I've already mentioned about skills and the skill tree, such as unlocking slow-mo and also the pig shop to upgrade your weapons. And it really can't be understated how important and how fleshed out these two systems are. As you can see, the upgrade screen is massive. There are so many abilities you're going to be able to learn, and it's not clear yet whether you will be able to learn every single ability in a playthrough. Probably not. That's my gut feeling, is that you will have to tailor and choose specifically the skills that are more important to you. And if that is the case, I think that's absolutely brilliant, because again, it adds even more variety and even more customization options and different build variations from player to player, and even from playthrough to playthrough, to add another layer to that replayability. And then again, as I said, with guns at the pig shop, you need to find that hidden dust, and you need to choose the upgrade routes that suit you and your playstyle when you're deciding where and how to upgrade your weapons. And finally, we have the difficulty options: normal, hard, and brutal. I cannot even fathom how hard the hardest difficulty level is. It probably is going to be Doom Ultra Nightmare levels of stress, but I imagine the absolute proest of the pro gamers are still probably going to make it look like absolute cake when they do get to grips with all of these mechanics, and they start hot swapping and parkouring and slow-moing and overcharging all over the place. I personally cannot wait to see how insanely good people can get at this game. It's been an absolute blast to play. Thank you again, PlayOn, so much for sponsoring the video. I encourage you to go and check it out by downloading the free demo that is out and available right now. And with that, my friends, all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.